Hello everybody, Anthony here with Deliver Capital. In today's tips and tricks, I'm going to be talking about how to avoid waiting 60 to 150 days or more for SBA financing. So what is the SBA? It's called the Small Business Administration. This is where the government is backing up the lender, and they're going to insure them up to 85% of the loan that they approve you for. It's really meant for in case if you default, it's a bank that they're going to reimburse them in case of that default occurs. Some of the uses for SBA is, working capital, for buying equipment, for purchasing inventory, refinancing debts, and buying real estate. Some of the characteristics is that they can approve you up to $5 million, stretch out those terms from 5 to 25 years. Rates can be as low as 7.5%. Of course, the higher the credit score, the lower the interest. And there's really three main SBA programs, right? The S7A is the one that we're going to be talking about in this presentation. The microloans, they cap you at $50,000, a little bit less restrictions on requirements, but they have that cap of the maximum of $50,000. The CDC 504 is really meant for larger purchases, like for example, commercial real estate, heavy equipment. Typically, the 25 years is meant for this program, and expect anywhere from 60 to 150-day turnaround time. It's not a quick process to get approved. Some of the requirements you needed for the 7A is, you need to know the amount of money that you're needing. Okay, so you can't use the SBA for, flipping houses. There's some restrictions to the program. You need to have a decent credit score, right? I recommend bringing it up to at least 700 FICO. Of course, coming back to the foundation, higher the credit score, lower the interest. But, even a lower credit score can defer an approval unless there's, some major compensating factors. You need historical earnings, right? So they look at the last 3 years of your tax returns. They're going to be very extensive on the paperwork. Want to make sure that your living expenses plus the business expenses of new incurring is not going to put you in a bad position. You need to create a business plan. Expect to create a 3 to 5 year plan, looking into your marketing, your operations, your financials, which actually comes down to my next slide of the financial projections. You need to know your numbers. What are the expenses? What is it going to take to run this operation? How much do you need? What's the marketing projections and the costs associated? The P&Ls and the balance sheets. Okay, collateral, which is a big part of SBA, is that they want to collateralize everything. It could be your home, your car, your inventory, your property that you own. If you have any assets, they will put a lien on it, and expect to put anywhere from 20 to 30% down with the approval, right? You need to have skin in the game. Lenders can charge up to 5% in origination. Could be pretty hefty. If of course you're getting a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 loan, could be $10,000 to $20,000, $30,000 in fees. And you need to have industry experience. Okay, it's required. For an example, if you are trying to purchase a car dealership, but you came from being a real estate clerk, right? There needs to be some type of experience to make sure that you can handle the new business. Some of the pros and cons here. Okay, if you're new to 7As, up to 10-year terms, lower interest rates, they can fund the total amount of project, of course, with capital availability, and the government is backing you. Some of the cons here, you have to wait 2 to 5 months, right? You need to put some skin in the game, 20 to 30% down payment, collateralize all your assets. You need to demonstrate those experiences. You need to take the time to create the business plan and the financial projections, and extensive paperwork. Provide everything and anything to the government for them to approve you. So what are some alternatives, right? So we've created some alternatives here for what we call the hybrid programs. You can mix and match some of these programs to help you fund your project, and of course to a different amount. One of the best programs I like to use personally is personal loans, anywhere from $25,000 to $500,000 in approvals, up to 7-year terms. Rates starting at 5.99, go to 36%. Why is it 36%? The higher the credit score, lower the interest. Another program we use is 0% promos for credit cards, both personal and for business, from 25 to 150,000. We've seen promos as long as 21 months. On the business side, it's very much the same concept, up to 18 months. But the benefit with business is that it doesn't show up on your personal credit because your business has its own EIN, which is a credit profile of itself. Next is your equipment business loans. A lot of businesses starting up need equipment. 25 to $500,000 in approvals, up to 7-year terms, starting around 6% all the way to 30. Typically, your startups could be a little more expensive unless you have a really strong personal profile that can demonstrate, some credibility. Next is your 401k ops plan. This is a great program, especially if you're starting up. It's less riskier for you and for the bank if you need to use some of the hybrid. But this is where you can tap into 100% of your retirement account without any penalties. So you can't be currently employed with your provider. Okay, so if your employer is matching the 401k and you're still working for them, you need to detach yourself or quit or move to a different job to be able to tap into that profile. Okay, we actually have a whole different presentation on the 401k if you want to learn more. 1 to 4 week turnaround time, okay, beats the 2 to 5 months if you need a quicker version of getting your funds to start your business. Now, working with a finance company, this is something that we really highly recommend. Why? Because they have the ability to leverage and get you 3 to 5 times more versus you going to the bank directly to yourself. They study the banks, they have relationships, they know the credit requirements, so they know where to go and what's needed, and they can have the ability to leverage and get you multiple approvals. Okay, guys, this is Anthony again with Deliver Capital. If you have any questions, by all means, give us a call. We're more than happy to answer them. All the contact information is right there. Hopefully, and have a great day.